Is this thing on?
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Coffee and Carving Show.
Welcome to episode number 97.
97?
Yep, 3 left.
Whoa! That's right, 3 left. Very fun.
So,
It's been a good run, dude. And by the way, just wanted to note, based on your audio, Doug is joining us from Niagara Falls.
yes. So, I just gave Alec a heads up that there will be water and a pump sound in the background, and there's nothing I'm going to do about it. My sump pump runs maybe 2 days a year.
Yeah.
And our whole land seems to be underwater
Right.
with this great melt that we've had. And yeah, I'm pumping like crazy. So, but all the fields are underwater. My whole bush is underwater. It's crazy times. So now it's snowing. It's turning cold and snowing again. But we had a big melt last week and lots of rain. And yeah, water everywhere.
Yes, and we've had the same here. Lots of rain last week, and now a snowstorm. We've got probably 3 inches on the ground. And
yeah, we got a lot today. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you'd measure in centimeters, so we don't even.
Not.
You measure in meters, fractional meters.
It's crazy, this metric system. We never fully embraced it.
Really?
Like I will say kilometers for my speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I use kilometers for the for driving too, like for distance.
Yeah.
But all of building, everything is inches and feet, and for the rest of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep.
If I look distracted, it's because my brother was calling me, and I needed to text him that I'm recording a podcast. So that's why the dead air. Please continue.
That's 2 weeks in a row, Kenny.
He really likes to talk to us during the pod. He wants to be a part of it. We should have him on.
Look at, I got festive can. I probably only have 48 cans left.
Oh man,
She must have got on sale. Christmas leftovers.
For sure. I like that mindset. That's a good. You've got a good one when you've got the sales in the house. The sale item foods.
Oh, that's all she buys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, my wife is upset at me if I buy stuff that isn't on sale sometimes.
Yeah, but my time is worth something. And
wow. All right.
I just grab what I need because I'm always running, so I don't check the flyers first or nothing. I shouldn't even say that. I don't rarely go to a grocery store, so.
Yeah. I like it. I like going to grocery stores. I think it's fun to every once in a while to pop in there, and mostly I like. Do you have a Trader Joe's by you guys? Is that a thing in Canada?
No. Well, it is.
I
think it's a thing.
Oh.
I think it's a thing in some places, like in the cities, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all hipster, high-end stuff, isn't it?
Probably the only grocery store that I ever look forward to going into. I like Aldi. Aldi is the other one that I really like a lot. Whenever I go into Aldi, I'm feeling good.
But it's full of your people. That's why.
Aldi?
Yeah.
Young people.
No?
Do you guys have
Young
Aldi?
hipsters? I don't even know what that is. No.
Oh, okay. No, Aldi's just like a budget-friendly grocery store in the States that has a lot of... It's funny, their business model is kind of like Costco. Everything's left in the box.
Okay.
And can you hear me, dog?
Is that loud?
Is the water high at this point? Is the tourism heavy right as it stands?
Floating away. Well, you were warned.
Doug's commitment to newscasting for coffee and carving show is incredible. Just the fact he was willing to sacrifice his own life for this show,
That's right.
just to be on site, Niagara Falls.
Fish.
Oh boy, yeah. I'm sorry. That bit was probably the best bit I've ever heard.
There you go.
From both of us, on both of our behalfs. Our acting skills are why we're in wood carving.
Okay, scrap it. Back to the grocery store. You're talking about, so that'd be like our food basics then. It'd be like just cheap, basic groceries, no frills.
I want to go back to the acting skills. Have you ever thought about acting, Doug? Did you ever think about it?
Wait till my media and we'll discuss it.
Okay, all right. Because you didn't do a bad job. The more I replay that in my head, I thought there was some fish on the ground. It certainly sounds that way. That's helping you out, but.
All right, are we done? Thanks for watching this week, folks.
We're going to cut to a quick break. Yeah, so, again, Aldi is like Costco. Everything stays in the box, and there's no frills about it, and they have a lot of budget-friendly stuff. But I don't know if they've always been this way, but I always kind of was, growing up, told that it was the store for, like, broke people. Not that my parents would say that directly, but they would always kind of be like, no, we're not Aldi people. We're not poor. And now that I'm on my own, there's a lot of really good stuff there. Yeah.
We actually have a chain called No Frills.
Really?
Yep.
No frills?
No Frills. It's called No Frills.
That.
Yep.
Is it good?
It's just basic, same as our food basics.
Yep.
Just basic groceries.
Right.
I would go to the Great Canadian Superstore when I go grocery shopping.
Really?
Yes. And my wife never goes there because it's too expensive.
Oh. But speaking of
pennies.
fancy pants.
Pennies. It's pennies.
Pennies to you. Not on that wood carving salary. That's what I always tell my friends. When they're like, wow, that's expensive. I'm like, do you know what I do for a living? I whittle faces in wood.
Okay.
I make dust. So no, but the reality, all teasing aside, Trader Joe's is also pretty inexpensive if you buy the right stuff. Like, we don't go there for normal groceries, but we'll go there for certain things. I can't think of any of those things, what they are, but if we're there on a Sunday and we want to get some hummus, for instance, they have some cheap hummus. You're never out and about on a Sunday looking for some hummus?
No, that's not my go-to food to start with.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. You're more of a steak and potatoes kind of a dude.
Meat and potatoes, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, good luck with that. But anyway, so I like Aldi. I like Trader Joe's, but we mostly go to Aldi because it's cost effective. So that's my
Great
piece.
Story.
We're gonna cut to a quick break, everyone.
What have you been up to?
Well, I'm gonna get to football in just a minute. For those of you who know that I live in the Detroit area, I think there's an interesting thing to discuss there about that. But this is a wood carving podcast, and so I'll talk about the wood carvings I've done. It was a really sad and bittersweet and really joyful all at once day. 2 or 3 days ago, I had a customer come by who had commissioned a carving, and their loved one who came with them, their spouse, passed away. Yeah. Yep. And so I'd been talking to him. He was planning on coming out. He had all these ideas for the carving. I just finished working on it and had it pretty decently close to being done. And within 2 days, I got a call from his wife saying that he had passed. And so she came finally after a few months of kind of grieving the whole situation and to come see the carving. And I did finish it. And so today I was putting the final clear coat on it, and he's back in the water, folks.
Isn't that loud?
So, yeah, it's pretty loud, but this is the
oh yes. Oh, I watched you do that.
Yeah,
I watched some part of that on the live stream.
I worked on it a little bit. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a fancy, expensive, whoa, headdress holder. So I'll show you the picture in just a second if I can move this thing without tipping it over. Woo. Should I just have him peekabooing? No, I'm not going to do that. Let me grab my camera here. I entertain them, Doug.
All right. Well, I'm entertained by that shirt alone on the native fella there. That's a great shirt.
Yeah, the reference photo they gave me had this striped shirt, and it was really weird. And I thought, why the heck would I do a striped shirt? But it ended up being kind of fun. It's different. I don't mind it.
Let's we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about that. If you insist. I don't know where if the memory card I have is just not there, but the point is, this whole thing was it's just a very like overbuilt holder for a headdress. This person had Native American heritage, and I think they were Cherokee, and they had this desire to honor that, and they wanted to put something in their house, and so they've had this really beautifully made, authentically made headdress. I mean, from what I saw of it, and like the just beautiful, and they had they wanted to have a bust to to display it on, and they said they'd been looking for one for like 30 something years, right, since the 90s or 80s, something like that. So it was at 40 years, and yeah, so we had it fitted, and it fit pretty well. I can't, for some reason I'm not able to pull the picture up. I don't know where the card went, but it looked really cool. It was super fun. Oh, here, it's probably here. But anyway, so that was kind of part of my week, was working on this bust, and just finishing it up, dialing it in. It was kind of did a rework of it, because it was actually a project that Abby and I did together. And here we go. Kind of fun. How that? I don't know if you can see.
Oh wow!
So the headdress went on there. It's kind of bad. It's a reflection on reflection there, but kind of cool how that worked out.
Yeah, it is. Huh? That's pretty fun.
Yeah, so it's a headdress holder. It's funny, the sailor that I carved a couple of weeks ago as a commission for somebody was talking to me about how it would be cool to create a sailor that was literally designed to hold a pipe, like had a fitting in it. There was like, the sailor was a pipe holder, like for collectors who had fancy pipes.
Yep.
And I never thought of that. It's kind of a cool idea. So I wasn't even talking into the microphone. Forgive me, but yes. So that's part of it.
I want to talk about that shirt. So you didn't. That's not painted.
Yeah. So the shirt. Watch me pull it and then drop it again. But yeah, the shirt is burned, and then so torched. You just dampen the braids. The sensitive areas you don't want to have burned, and torched it. Made a slurry with clear coat, and worked it into the corners wherever I missed with the burn, with the torch, and then I carved away the lines with a Dremel, and that's what left me the lighter part, the lighter lines in the shirt.
Okay.
And yeah, burned the base as well, so you can't probably see it too well, but it's black, burned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very fine Dremel.
That was just a ball. It was just probably a 1/4 inch ball.
Okay.
Just
that's really fun.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I had fun with this. I enjoyed making it. It was nice to get away from the deer. Something I'm not even just to get away from the deer, but get into something that felt familiar for once.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was happening with the deer. Half the time I was like, I hope this turns out. And which, by the way, I did do some final touch-ups to that. I had called my friend, and he was talking about how cool it would look if I did some sanding on the face to complement it instead of paint it. Remember how we talked about I could not get myself to paint this thing? just couldn't do it. And so I did the sanding to highlight it. I don't know if he said sanding. He was saying use paint, whatever it was. I ended up using sandpaper, and I think this was a good middle ground for it to get some of the highlights from the sandpaper, and then burning the areas that are darker, the eyes and the bark.
No, that looks
And
fantastic.
and then just that's just natural on the antlers. So the antlers are just basswood, and yeah, so I had a lot of fun just sanding that. I was surprised actually. I think I'm glad I did it. I burned the nose, of course. I showed you that last time, and then burned, of course, the log behind it. And but it's actually two pieces. The log is one piece, and the deer is another, and then they're kind of blended together. And
I, I'm impressed even just with the knurling of the antler. I love that.
I told the dude, he was really obsessed with the idea of the antlers being like really detailed, and
Yeah.
so I I did spend a fair bit of time doing that. I enjoyed the final touches because finally felt like it was coming together, and customer was really having a bummer last couple of years as a hunter. That real avid, probably as avid of a hunter as you can be, and his goal, his his really his biggest buck was not processed properly. It was destroyed. He had been tracking this thing for 10 years and wasn't able to wasn't able to show anything for it because it was destroyed after about a year of sitting around by the
Hmm.
processing company. And apparently it bummed him out so much he stopped hunting for a while. His brother got a hold of me. He was the one that kind of instigated it, and so he told me it's the happiest he's been in 2 years. So I'm hoping that revitalizes his hunting career. But I was really happy
Well,
to hear that.
there you
The
go. You're
nicest
good for
thing,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was the nicest customer comment I've ever received. So I was very proud and very happy.
So it's out of your
Um,
hands. He has it.
it's at the shop still. We're waiting for the weather to clear up because I have a
Okay.
big long driveway and the barn is way back in the property, 10 acres. So um, he's gonna have a lot to deal with this weather. So, but he's waited this long, so he's not impatient. So
No. No. Obviously. Yeah.
right.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, people that commission artwork for the most part, they're awesome. They're the people that, especially in the higher price points, they understand that whatever you're going to do is going to take a long time, and
Yeah.
the timelines are often not accurate. Things get in the way of projects getting completed, and uh,
Well, yeah, and you don't want to rush it.
oh
Like that'd be
yeah,
the worst case scenario. So.
yep, yeah. I mean, his mantra, which was really nice to hear, was I'd rather it take you as long as you need it to take and be great. That's my main thing. So
Yep. Cool. Well,
so
you
yeah, it
did
was it
good.
was the deer, of course. That was mostly last week. I did think I had sanded it like right after we finished the podcast or something like that, but or maybe the next day. But yeah, so mostly it's been you know there's like a day of working on the bust, clear coating that, burning it, doing all that, and then as far as like mundane stuff, before I get to the lions, which we can talk about later after I want to hear more about what you've been up to because um, yeah, that can come later if we have time. But the house that I live in is a 100-year-old cabin, and it has uh, all of the features of summer living and none of the features of winter living. And it's not insulated at all, and so it's super. It's just horrible. Like in the wintertime, there's a draft coming from every window. The floors are cold, and we've done a lot to mitigate the coldness of the house, insulating the crawl space. Digging out a trench so that we could access most of the crawl with spray foam and damming up the door with the foam, making a foam door and all that, and that's helped a degree. But you still have these furnace vents that are only in the ceiling, right? So
Yeah.
the air it comes out of the ceiling vent and it goes right back up into the upper levels and just right up stays in the ceiling. And so the floors are cold. Everything in the lower level is freezing cold, and so finally installed a natural gas wall mount stove, gas heater, 25,000 BTU. It was pretty big, and that was good. That worked out well. I was able to put that in. Here's a picture of the dog we were watching in the hole, looking outside. Dog's paradise. A little window you could stick your head out of and smell. And so yeah, you can see the site of the project. There was a lot of things we had to do. I had to go under the house and crawl around in my fours and uh, dodge coyote poop, which God knows why coyotes are in my crawl space, but there's giant hairy turds in the basement, coyote dung. But yeah, eventually we ran a gas line to it, and figured out a way of making it happen. So very, very happy to have a warm house, though. I woke up the first day of the house, struggling to ever get above 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It was in like mid 70s. So big help.
There you go. There you go. Tell us again how you took out your wood stove, though.
Took out my wood stove. Oh yeah, I had this humongous. I think it was rated for like a 3,000 square foot home wood stove in my 700 square foot cabin, and they had it. They kind of rigged it together in such a way it was like kind of right in the living room, taking up ridiculous amounts of space. So I got rid of it. It wasn't actually even properly. There wasn't a proper line to it. It was just kind of sitting in there, and or a chimney. So I took that out, sold that, and ended up putting an insert, like a firebox insert, that I never used because I never make fires in that house. And so, kind of the same story with the sauna. If I had done the sauna with wood burning, probably wouldn't have used it, and then I'd have a whole nother job of collecting firewood, and God knows I don't need another hobby. So
I agree with that. We dabble with the idea of a sauna too, and I really would want a wood burning one, except for the fact that it would become a chore and you wouldn't use it.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
I feel the same way about meat smoker too. I'd love to smoke meat, but I just don't have time.
Exactly. There's like so many fun things that you could bide your time with that probably won't be worthwhile if it doesn't give you the opportunity to just unwind, But and then I did this today. It's a female. Actually, did I start this? I don't know when I started this, but there's not enough light to really see what's going on here.
I can see a fair bit. This looks good. Looks really good. I love your odd pieces of bark too.
There you go.
All my bark is boring. Yeah, she's nice.
Thanks.
But I'm really jealous about the just all the characteristics of the bark itself.
There we go.
There you go. Oh
I
yeah,
can actually
she's
see.
a good one. She's a good one.
That was fun. I enjoyed carving her. She's actually not done, but she'll be done soon.
Well, she's no Becky.
I love that carving.
Silly.
People liked it too in the comments. People absolutely love that thing. Yeah. So that, and then I'll try not to bring the whole thing down, but last thing was I started with this video for a new project I'm starting, which is a school of carving for kids, a school of art for kids. I'm sorry. So I'm starting out mostly sculpture, but the idea is to get, I've been in this community of creative people and artsy fartsy people. Some of them teach, and I want to utilize their skills and offer them, these professional skills to the younger generation. People like me when I started out, age 12, 11. So I'm putting together a project of one piece at a time, one project at a time. And I know you and I have talked about this a few days ago, but so the first project was me experimenting with Fimo and doing a little cottonwood leaf. You can kind of see it's like a baked clay that is like a little fridge magnet, but kind of like a younger kid's project, maybe like age 9 to 10. Like a simple
I love that idea. Now, you say Fimo. Give me another name. Is there another?
It's a I think I don't know what it's made out of.
I think it's just
like
polymer clay.
just a bakeable clay that you put in the
Yeah.
oven at 230 Fahrenheit, and it turns solid and kind of rubbery. So it's got a flexibility to it, but it's pretty solid, and it makes for a good little like keychain, or you could probably make a necklace out of it or earrings or whatever. And so if you shrunk it down, but
Yeah, I think so. Sophie always played with polymer clay. It must be the same idea.
yeah, yeah. So that was fun, and kind of rough to try to. I mean, God, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to talking to kids. So part of me was like, uh, do I just be myself? And then the first thing I do is use some bit, like some stupid word that I'm like, no 9-year-old knows what I'm saying right now. I'm using like I get into fundamentals of wood carving. So then I'm like talking about undercutting, and I just had to scrap like 3 different takes talking about stuff that just doesn't relate to 9-year-olds. And so it was a little bit of a learning curve for me, but it was fun.
Did you watch the video I sent you
Which one?
from the Craftsman?
No.
Oh, you need a puppet. You need a fun little
Oh,
puppet to talk about your projects.
yeah. Anyway, this has been the longest ever chat about what I've been up to. But I guess it's been a busy week. But talk to me, Doug. What's you been up to, mate?
Well, I'm going to piggyback because I told you when you were doing your furnace, I said, "Oh, I got a furnace story for you."
Yeah.
So, as you know, my one of my other jobs is I manage a strip mall,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess it was Friday. I got a call about 10 a.m. that the heat was out in one of the units, one of the
Mm-hmm.
restaurants. I said, "Okay." So I made some phone calls and got the heating guys up on the roof. And the guy's like, "There's no power here." But from the time that I got the heating guy there, I got 3 more calls for
Hmm.
3 different units that had no heat.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, that's impossible. That's just, out of the 16 units or whatever,
Right.
like, and another call. So then there's 5. There's 5 furnace calls. I'm like, something's not right. So anyway, I called the heating guy, then we had to get an electrician to see. I said, this is definitely a power issue. Had the
Right.
electrician searching the whole thing, trying to figure out what's going on because the lights were on
Hmm.
in the stores, in the restaurants, and the stores. The lights were all on,
Hmm.
but the furnaces weren't working. I'm like, this is strange. And long story, extra long, boring, but it turns out we had to call the utility company to come with the big boom truck to go up in the power lines, and
Yeah.
they said there's no power in this whatever phase. I'll screw up if I start talking electrical talk, but there's higher voltage phases of power, so they only fed the high voltage appliances like the rooftop
Hmm.
furnaces and whatnot. But anyway,
Yeah.
they said, but it's not in our line; it's in the ground. Like, oh, great. Again, this is getting way too long, but ends up the power line blew underground. So then while the electrical company, utility companies, they were like, we have to shut all the power off for them all. You can't have power at all because there's something going on.
Hmm.
So they shut on a Friday night, Friday afternoon, Friday evening. No hydro for the whole, no power, I should say,
Hmm.
for you American
Mm-hmm.
folks. There's no power for the whole mall. And anyway, I had to dig up the whole back alleyway,
Hmm.
find the power. So it was 8 big 3/4 inch lines that were just molten aluminum,
Hmm.
4 feet down. Anyway, Friday night, 11:30, we got the power back on.
Hmm.
So that was my furnace story. But people say, what do you mean you don't have time for that? That's my extra job on top of my full-time job. So anyway, that was a big ordeal, but it was just so funny that took a furnace call, then took another furnace call, and then 3 more furnace calls, which I never get that one a month, let alone
Hmm.
5 in one day. So
That's
that's
rough.
my furnace story. But otherwise, I did a little bit of carving. Went back to the old aspen, carved a little aspen fella.
There he is. Wow,
just
cool.
a, just another stick. I
He
love
is
carving these
so good,
sticks.
man. What a great,
It's kind of
so
fun,
much
eh?
depth and character in his face.
But then the real highlight was I carved this guy in the boat. The
That is
the
so fun.
the fisherman.
That has to be
So
my favorite carving of yours ever.
it's I liked it too. I can
That
say
is
that.
so fun. Look at the
So
wood.
yeah, I got
I feel
the
like
whole.
you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just say like I made it like boat planks and whatnot, and the pipe was a lot of fun to carve too because we've talked about this before. But you know, to make the little tobacco, can you see the tobacco with a little bit of char on it
Oh,
and
that's great.
the top,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
put
yeah,
a
yeah.
and then
Yeah,
I
we
put a
talked about that. I did the same thing on mine. Yep.
yeah, and then I made a little stem, a
Yep.
little. So anyway, there's a
Dude,
lot of fun.
the way the paint pulls out all of those details and the way you did that is just so good. So stinking good.
Well, if I'm gonna be honest, I did get a real boost when I posted on Instagram because people loved it.
Yep.
Like I had where normally I'd get like 20 comments. I think I got like 130 comments on it.
Wow.
So that was like I was like, oh, maybe it
Yeah.
is good.
Makes
Okay,
you feel good.
maybe it's okay. The whole
Yeah.
time I was saying, the whole time I was carving, going, oh, stupid idiot! That hat should have been lower because it should have been a bigger
No.
brim, lower hat.
No.
But it's fine. So
No, it looks awesome, man. That's
anyway,
so cool. There's definitely nothing I would do differently about the hat. I love that.
yeah. But look at the stitching. I'm gonna share something with you. Can you see the
Is
stitching?
I can't see it because of the grain of your internet connection.
Okay, but those on the proper video will see the stitching. And it was so fun. I was like, how am I going to show stitching?
Right.
Oh, one sec. So I went into my leatherworking kit and I pulled out the little stitching thing.
Yes. Yep.
And I just rolled that up and down all the
Such a good
lines
idea.
and it was perfect. It was
Yep.
a perfect tool to have
I love
for
that.
that. So I thought that was great because it leaves the line the line plus
I
the
can see a
holes.
line, but it's not really. Yeah, I
Okay,
should
but
show you a picture of what I'm looking at. Oh, there it is. It came in for a second. Yep.
yeah, so it makes a line and the holes all in one fell swoop with the tool. So
Really?
yeah, because that's
Huh.
just a marker for to make the holes for when you're stitching.
Right.
So and then it gives a little bed for the thread to lay in between
Mm.
the holes. So it's a nice line with the holes. So
Wow.
that was a fun little thing to find out. Anyway, for future.
That is really
But
neat.
I'm gonna tell you one more thing too about this carving. You know, you have all these tools. You buy a set, and you like, have this one tool that like, what on earth am I ever going to use that tool for?
Right.
I'll never ever use that tool. I should sell it or just put it in a drawer somewhere.
Yep.
And I got into this up in the top here, and you won't be able to tell for the depth or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have never used this flattish bent
Man, our
tool.
connection is bad. I can
Is it?
barely see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you watch the video, but finally I had a reason to make a clean line on the top of his hat back in a hole so that I could actually work down like that. So
Yep.
anyway, it's those tools that you don't think you're ever going to use once in a while, you might need them. So
Yeah. No. I love finding an old tool that you forget you have and finding a use for it.
yeah,
I have
that's
a
probably the
similar
first
tool. I
time.
don't know if it's for leather or not, but it's got a similar. It's a similar concept. It's like a spindle, and then I don't know if you use it to press. I don't know if it's stitching or what it is, but I've used it before for the same thing to do the stitches of a shirt, and I love. I mean, I rarely pull it out, but it's cool to have stuff like that pop up.
But, so that, and then other than that, I'm still trying to make this workshop work better for
Yeah.
me. So I probably spent
Yeah.
about 4 or 5 hours moving things around again and changing things up. But
Right.
yeah,
I get that. I,
I may never get there. I'd love to soundproof it somehow, but I don't know how much effort I want to put into it being in the basement. Like maybe
right.
eventually I'll build a shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to sink too much money into it if I end up with a shop outside or something. So
Yeah. Right.
yeah, but as you know, I like change, so
Yeah.
it's always fun to move stuff around.
I get it. I do. It's
Yeah,
one of my favorite things. Is if I always feel bad when I do. I don't know why that is. I always feel like, but I just yeah, I want to move. I want to move things around. It's not that I feel bad. Sometimes I get in a organizing phase and I feel like I should be carving, but it's perfectly valid. You gotta have a clean space. So, and yours happens to have a waterfall running through it, which is also a nice added feature. So,
I had it muted till you said
yeah.
that. But
Uh,
no, I find rearranging just when I don't feel like carving, I
yep.
start rearranging stuff, and then I want to carve.
Right.
So it's
Yep.
kind of I find it inspiring actually to clean
Right.
up and move things around. So
Yep. I can see that.
but,
I could definitely see that.
but that's about it.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm trying to mute the thing. All these dead spaces, I'm hitting mute all the time. That
Don't
thing
you
is
usually?
just constantly running. But
Right.
again, all year it won't run at all.
Yep.
It's just when everything floods and the water makes its way down,
Right.
and yeah,
I get it, man.
just happens to be today.
I say that I get it, but then again, I don't have a basement, so I wish I had a basement. I wish I had a basement, but
Well, I have a
alas.
very high water table here, so when I
Hmm.
built this house, I only dug down, just basically took the topsoil off
Right.
and built the whole full basement above and brought in like 95 truckloads of fill to build up
Wow.
the house. So,
Wow.
because you can dig down with the shovel and the water's there. So, yeah.
All right.
You ready?
Can I
Yep.
can I confide in you guys, you for a moment? I hope that this doesn't make me sound like a negative person. Who cares? Who cares if it does? Here's what I'm feeling right now. Okay, our team. For those of you that don't care about football, uh, well, neither do I. I don't really care that
I
much
don't
about
care.
football
I
either.
could care less either.
Right. But something happens, right, to a city who's been losing consistently for its most of its existence, right? Like the Lions as a football team, our team, Detroit Lions, the Detroit Lions has been a horrible team, and to see them succeed in the way that they have in the last year has been really fun. It's like cool to see your team win, right? And a lot of it is, growing up, my dad would have the game on, and I would watch it with him, and it was just fun. I enjoyed watching football occasionally, so it was always like a thing that I would do with my dad. My brother didn't like football; it would always just be me watching it with him because I liked it. And but that's about the extent of it, man. I mean, I don't tune in football ever. At home on my phone. I'm not one of these guys who's at church with his phone looking at the stats. Uh, it's just not my thing. And but got caught up in this whole win, and I've been watching these past few games, and a lot of people have a very interesting reaction to the interest that I've shown in football. And I've heard this term being thrown around a lot, and it's almost always with a little tone of anger, and it's bandwagoner. You're just a band. You don't like football. You don't like football. What are you talking about? Watching football? And I found that people are more upset that I've taken interest in football because our team is winning, almost as though I'm like just listening to Taylor Swift because she's famous, right? That's the same type of mindset. Uh, people, and so in my mind, I'm thinking, if you really cared a lot about football, wouldn't you be glad that one of your friends or family members was excited about it? Right?
Yeah, yeah. But they
I
put
mean,
in the
if you,
time. They put in the time. That's the
that's
problem.
what it is. That's what it
They
is.
put it.
I've been
Yeah.
watching our team lose for
Yeah, for
years.
years. That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
right. And then you come along when we're winning.
Yeah. How dare you?
Right. Yeah. So anyway, that's. I mean, I could go on, but that's pretty much it. It's just a funny thing when people almost unequivocally have responded with anger towards me for being into the games these last few weeks.
Well, let me confide in you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even understand how they keep score.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I
Yeah.
know nothing of football. I know more
Mm-hmm.
about hockey
Well, but
because we
you're
grew up.
also a Canadian. Yeah.
We grew up watching Hockey Night in Canada, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Well, and then with that being said, the only sport that I'm inclined to play lately, the only one that will draw me to get away from my family and house and stuff is hockey to play. I mean, it's like my favorite game to play, but I don't watch it regularly. So, but then again, call me a bandwagoner because if the Red Wings had a really crazy hot streak, maybe they have. See, it's probably not true. Probably wouldn't watch it. Probably wouldn't
But
watch it.
you have something over them. You can point to those staffs that you made and say, "What are you talking about? I made the actual. What do you call that?
The problem is you don't remember the name and I forget the name, and so it doesn't help. It doesn't help when I get a call from an NFL team, and I go around telling my family members the wrong title, and I'm like, "Oh, the Bengal Tigers. They reached out to me," and they're like, "Who's? What do you mean the Bengal Tigers? You mean you mean the Bengals?" Anyway, so it's like, yeah, it's pretty much still a wash there because I don't actually I didn't even know that team existed before they reached out. So,
Yeah, well, but you got it now.
so
So
well,
there
they
you
got
go.
it now. So, but anyway, yeah, it was fun. And then it was cool to be able to create a false correlation between my stabs in their hands and then their first ever kind of like a Lions thing, except they actually went to the Super Bowl. And they were like one of the worst teams in the league. So that was pretty cool. I have to admit, to just take all of the glory and credit for that, because I recognize I'm probably the only reason that they made it. That staff.
I think I watched baseball about 3 games in the 90s. Early, I think it was probably 90, 91 or something around there when the Toronto Blue Jays won back-to-back championships, whatever
Yep.
the championship's called. I don't know. But I remember the Blue Jays. They had. I remember being
Yep.
at a wedding, and everybody was in the bar watching the baseball game because it's the final game. Yeah.
Oh
So,
man, that's too good.
but again, I know nothing about sports
Mm-hmm.
except for I love the UFC. That's all I watch is fighting.
Right.
I don't even watch boxing. I just like the UFC. But
Yeah. Oh, I get that too. I get
we
that
take to
too.
move on to the mailbag.
Mailbag.
He's not even trying anymore.
Mailbag.
All right. Timothy wants to know, have either of you made any homemade tools? He recently read a post from Don Mertz on making carving knives from old pocket knives and tried himself and found it a very enjoyable and satisfying process. Personally, I have not. I've handled many, many tools, but I always wanted to get into forging make a little brake drum forge and forge my own tools.
That would
And
be really cool.
as with everything else, I quickly realized that I don't have time for another hobby. I
Yeah.
just can't, because the next thing you'd be buying this big KM grinding sanding disc thing. Those
Yep.
big belt discs or belt grinders and sanders, and yeah.
It just takes a lot, doesn't it? Yeah.
I always, if I go in hard.
Yep.
So I can't dabble. So
I get it. I get it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm in the same boat, except for I don't mean to brag, Doug, but I have some extensive experience in creating. Um, could you call them? Is it swearing to say asinine? Uh, Foolishly made tools. So I created a series based on my brother. My brother's never been the person that I ought to listen to for advice, but for some reason I took his advice and decided to do a series of carvings with objects that you shouldn't use to make carving tools out of. And let's just give you an example. Let's say a spoon, for instance. Here's a
that's
spoon,
right. I remember.
and I tried to do an entire carving with a little tiny teaspoon, and you can see I should put a little bevel on it, and it was absolutely horrible. I mean, it's about as bad as you'd imagine it being. This one wasn't as bad. Butter knife, sharpened a butter knife. This one did well, actually. I liked the carving that came from that, and I think I actually sold that carving. This one was even better. This was awesome. This was just a flathead old Stanley screwdriver. This was a really nice tool, and I kind of turned it into a skew, like a half round skew chisel. And then finally, this isn't the one that I sharpened. I don't know where it is, but I sharpened a few other things as well. But one of them was a railroad tie. That was awful too. That was absolutely horrible. So yeah,
I watched that. I watched that whole series, and all I could think was, "Oh, look at the show off! I can carve with anything."
right. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
joking. No, it was
again,
good.
I
It
don't
was
want to.
good.
I don't mean to show off, but as far as tool making goes,
You did nail it. I mean,
again, I don't want people to think that I'm some professional tool maker, but
right?
the evidence here, I don't know,
Well,
pretty
you know what
good.
I did? I took a spoon like that and I hammered it flat, and I bent it this way and then this way, and it holds a plant in the kitchen.
We are so crafty, aren't we?
So Kevin Coates, just on the same line, he did a carving just with an axe head, and I always wanted to do that because,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's not here. Anyway, I used to have a mini Grand Spurs. I have it somewhere here,
Yeah, yeah.
but I carry that thing all the time. And I had a video where I showed all the things that you could do with this little mini hatchet, and I filleted a whole fish with my hatchet, and that would have been great at the time to know about carving and carved a little person with a hatchet too. But that video is like 10 years old.
Yeah. Cool.
Uh, Preston has quite a little book he wrote us, and it's very nice. And he says you don't have to read it on air because it's him telling us how much he loves the show. And he's a silversmith. But anyway, his question at the end here is, my question is, can I use a motorized polishing wheel that I used to polish sterling and pure silver, cotton wheel loaded with red rouge, to hone carving knives and gouges instead of a strop? Because it's sitting conveniently next to his carving desk and would make it very fast and easy. So, basically, he's talking about a cotton wheel with abrasive on it.
Cool. Very,
And
very cool.
I say, yes, you can.
Yeah.
But, and I'll give you a but, you're going to end up rounding your tools.
Mm-hmm.
And who cares?
Yeah.
To some degree.
To some degree, I agree. Who cares?
I don't know if I can take you for a walk or not. Let's go for a walk. Want to come for a walk? Come on, folks. I'll show you what we're talking about. Because I do this all the time. Do I have to go this way? There's my my cotton wheel, and it works great. Works very good. But I like to use if I can get a flat edge with the leather belt first, that keeps it flatter because you do round a lot.
Yeah.
Right. So, I put the gnome house in the corner.
That's so cool.
So yes, so that's my story. But I do find that you can you round the edges somewhat, but again, not the end of the world. And if you have a way every year or two to take them back to a better edge, but yeah, it works
You can
great.
take the belly, or if you want to call it a belly, take the belly out of the bevel. But
Yeah,
the only issue that you'll run into with that is the red compound typically is a fine, very, very fine, high polish. And you're gonna be spending a lot of extra time working with that. You might
for
as
the green.
you might go yellow or green. Either of those are the same.
Yeah,
Those are great. They're like a medium, and so they strike a nice balance. They cut quickly and they leave a nice polish, but by no means will it give you the same luster that red will. But you don't need that on a carving tool,
no,
So, but
no.
But there's different opinions that people have on that. I know Alex Grobovetsky uses mirror paste, which is it's like white. I think it might be in the same realm as the red, maybe a little bit more aggressive than the red, but it's very fine, and he
That
loves to finish with that.
that mirror paste that comes in a tube.
It's no, it might, but this one just comes in like a little tiny screw top container, like looks like a lip balm container.
Say that again. A lip
Balm.
balm. Okay,
Yeah.
you said it. Okay. We have a Autosol. It's a polishing compound too. They sell like Canadian Tire, and people put that on the strops too.
Okay.
It's from an automotive department.
Huh.
Autosol, yeah,
Cool.
and it's a great for the strops. I also use on a flat strop. I got into this aluminum oxide, just the powder.
Yeah. Stuff is
So you
awesome.
just put it on a strop flat. So
That's so good. Yeah. Or if it is it the same as what do they call it? What is the other name? Crocus powder. Is that what crocus powder is?
I've never heard crocus powder before in my life. It sounds like poison.
It might be crocus powder.
It's like the witch's brew that you put in a cauldron. A little bit of crocus powder.
Crocus powder. For polishing. Okay, well they make crocus cloth. I think it's just the same thing, but in a powder form. But I cannot stand it. It's an old thing. This was like 20 years, like I don't know, 18 years ago. I last heard of it, but
All right.
but
Our buddy Stan says, "Hey, Doug and Alec." He enjoys the show, the banter. When you were discussing the topic of room-to-room carving tool storage, I didn't hear any mention of a lap desk. One that's just deep enough for a few tools in a strop. I have seen them before. I find that well, he keeps going here. He says, "I haven't built one, but I use a version with an edge to catch rolling tools and chips. It also functions as a safety knife stop." Just my 2 cents. Thanks again for the show, Stan.
cool.
Thanks, Dan. So what I've seen is so this is more for the bushcraft spoon carving type guys, but it's a lap desk. But like you said, it's just a piece of wood that has a little bit of an edge on it. But I've seen the ones that have a belt on the back. You belt yourself in.
That's
so
cool.
that it's a cool idea.
Protects your lap.
Yeah, but then it doesn't fall off either. If you can imagine trying to, if you don't have a proper chair or something, if you're sitting on a stump in the bush,
Right.
It keeps it firm.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Getting ripped off. Oh, Ralph Ralph, I went and checked out the picture. He sent a picture of a cardinal. He was worried that, well, I'll just read it. Uh, I just watched your recent coffee and carving show regarding getting ripped off. I understand the objections to others taking credit for your work. I create a hiking stick topper based on your cardinal, and he put it on his website and he gave credit for the design. And I checked it out. It's a fantastic carving. And he says, "Is this an acceptable credit or for you being the originator of the design? If not, would you prefer I remove the carving, or is there another wording you would prefer?" Don't think about it again. It's fantastic. You did a great job. And no, that was not the essence of getting ripped off we were talking about. Like, you went above and beyond and credited the design on your website. That's already above and beyond. So no, don't worry about it. Good job. That's what I say.
He did do a good. I did see that, and it was an awesome idea.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great. Dale has shared an email with us with a video on hobby horse.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Shame on you, Dale, for making me even click on that. You should. I'm going to save that. You have to click on it.
Okay.
All right. Peter says, I'm carving with basswood that's only available in the Netherlands. A few weeks back, I ordered some basswood from Treeline USA. That is a difference of night and day. The USA basswood is nice, smooth, and soft. I also did soapstone carving here, but the Dutch basswood is harder than the soapstone. Now I'm going to carve Becky and Pixie. So he's taking the same class from Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the names of those carvings.
I thought so.
Becky.
Yeah.
And tonight he started with the librarian. So anyway, yes, Treeline USA sells, I believe it's Heineke's basswood. And I've only heard that it's the best basswood you can buy. And I've only heard that because they won't ship it to me. So I don't want to promote them.
Right.
Because they won't. It's too hard to fill out a form, I guess, to send to Canada. But I hear it's really good. I can't deny it. So, But yeah, I can just imagine his joy after carving hard basswood to get that stuff.
Right.
And our last one, James wanted to bring up the idea of a cool app to bring to your attention, as I think it could be a really helpful tool for carvers. It's called Polycam. And if your phone has a LiDAR sensor, you can essentially scan 3D objects and environments in great detail on your phone and view them as 3D models.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff is locked behind a paid subscription, but you can view other people's uploads for free. There's a lot of face models and various animal statues, etc., etc. But yes, Polycam 3D scanner.
I'm looking it up. I'm looking to see if I have a similar. I'm trying to find the one that I have, but it's same concept, and it is very cool. I've used it to scan my shop. One of my buddies who has never been here wanted to see it, and so I scanned it for him so he could see where I'm working and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
It's an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
I know, since I'll never download the app, but I do know that, like on Pinterest, I see some faces that they look like they're 3D scanned or something. Like they're very not geometric, but it's some computer driven face.
Right.
So they're really, really good teaching and measuring models. Really, they're great.
Right.
So there you go. Thanks, James. And that is the media. Oh, thank you for that sonnet. Which brings us to
media.
Oh, I thought you were going to play one more note.
Media.
There we go. Okay. You asked me earlier about my acting ability.
Mm-hmm.
So my media this week. Now I'm going to preface this whole conversation by saying, if you said, "Hey Doug, you want to watch a video on a mime?" I would say, "There's no freaking way I'm going to watch a mime." Right? I have no interest in a mime.
Right.
But for some reason, now I lost his name. Tom the Mime on YouTube. I think a short passed by me once, and I saw a short video on Tom the Mime. He is basically the host seeder at SeaWorld. So he's kind of like the pre-show warm-up for SeaWorld. And I'm telling you, I got hooked on watching Tom the Mime because he's silly and he's funny. And there's hours and hours and hours of Tom the Mime on YouTube. So, after making my wife watch some of Tom the Mime, my acting ability came right out.
Really?
To the point that my wife said, "Stop it now."
It's the new me. Sorry, babe.
Because I was walking by people and I was going, oh, doing all these things. I know I looked like a total moron. It was so much fun. I laughed too hard. But anyway.
I'm watching him right now, and
He loves the ladies.
does he?
Yeah. But it's good, clean, wholesome, and it just makes you smile. Like he's just, But like I said, if you said, "Hey, you want to check out this mime?" I'd say no. But for some reason, this guy makes fun of his body and bald head and all this stuff. So great.
I like the popcorn bit he's doing. He's going like he merges with the crowd that's walking by him, just pretends to be one of them, and then he doesn't have, and then he then he starts using a shovel. That's funny.
Yeah, you could watch hours of him on YouTube now.
You could, but you
could.
Shouldn't.
All right, you.
Man, well, I wish I had an equally goofy one to contribute because mine seems kind of boring in contrast. But I've been listening to a book. It's actually not a boring book. It's a good book.
I just lost your sound.
Oh, well, it'll be good.
All right, keep going.
It's a book called E-Myth. So Doug can't hear me, but you guys can.
I can hear you. It just went very, very, very quiet.
Oh, weird. But it's E-Myth Revisited. And it's a book about small businesses, and really cool premise. Just to summarize it, the idea is that the average person starting a business is someone who is usually a skilled person, and they're a technician, and they're mostly that, and they're tired of working for somebody else, and they want to work for themselves. And the problem is with that is to have a small business and to succeed, there's more than just the one thing that you do that you're good at doing involved in running a business. You've got to do accounting, and you've got to do managing yourself. You've got to think about the future. So that creative side, the entrepreneur side, and all that to say, most people are just so heavy on the skills and very, very minimally focused on the other stuff, the entrepreneurship and managing. So it's just talking about that, and really boring as it sounds, it's actually a really, really interesting read. I enjoy it. So it's a book.
Well, there you go. You guys can bore yourself with that, or you can watch Tom the Mime.
Or you can waste your life away. I guarantee you that you're having a lot more laugh. You're having a good laugh. It's probably better for your health to listen to the mime than it is to...
He doesn't say anything.
Sorry, to watch the mime. Jeez, so pedantic. All right, well, that's that, guys. I'm going to play my most beautiful sonnet, because between now and next time I see you, not only is it our second to last ever episode, but it's also I'll have played my first concert in a long time.
Oh.
And I'll be carving. They've convinced me to carve there. So I'm going to divide up my hour, the first 20 minutes playing and singing, and then the final thing is going to be tick, 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 tick.
Do you think that you could get your wife to videotape that for us?
I can't do that.
I guess they say record that now. Is that what they say?
I say tape it still, even though. Well, I guess
Okay.
that's my era too. So
There's no more tape.
maybe she will. Maybe she'll do that, or maybe I would have to ask her to, and that would require that I would see the video afterward. I guess I wouldn't have to see it, but
I'll DM her privately.
there you go.
I want my own copy.
Yeah. Why are you recording the whole thing, Annalise? I don't understand. Somebody said, "Why are you always asking me to have expensive pee?" And I thought, I was like, "What is he?" Oh, take your vitamins, folks.
There you go. All right, that's a wrap.
Oh.